record to the cloud. I need to close my email. All right, so good morning. It's Tool Time Tuesday, and this is session 86. We're nearing the end of the year. I think we have one more session before we close out for the calendar year and take a little break. Today, we are going to talk about a few OneDrive updates that we've noticed that we thought that you'd want to hear about or talk about. And as always, please share additional information if you have you've seen updates or things that have changed, or if you have questions as well. I'm Larissa Gann. I'm from the Research Medical Library, and my colleague and many times better half, Leslie Moore, is here with us today. And again, we're from the Research Medical Library. You can find us on Inside just by typing in library. You can also Google us at mdanderson.org/library. Contact us anytime with questions. We're here to help you find the right person, the right place, the right information. We wanted to remind you that Giving Tuesday is today. So there was a story on Inside. If you would like to choose an opportunity to support a different group, there are some options on Inside. And of course, you can choose any other charity that you'd like to support. There's so many wonderful things to support. So Giving Tuesday is just a great opportunity to give back since 'tis the season. We also wanted to remind you that National American Indian Heritage Month is coming to an end, but we have these books available all year round. So if you would like to check out some ebooks or audiobooks through the Libby app, those are available through the Libby website here. You can go to libbyapp.com/library/MD Anderson. You can also ask us in the library if you can't find it. These books will stay all year round, and plenty of other titles for you to choose from as well. We sent out a tip of the week this morning because this was based on some questions that we had received. We just wanted to remind everyone, if your network is slow or you're struggling to connect remotely, don't just suffer through it. Please review the options that are available and contact 4Info for help. There could be a fix. I actually helped someone last week who was really struggling to connect, and we were able to find a fix for her. She was connecting one way, and there was another way that worked better for her. Also, if you're having internet issues, don't hesitate to contact your internet provider. They work for you, so you might need to get your line checked or get your equipment refreshed or checked. I probably have to do this every year and a half or so. I don't know if I told this story before, but one time the AT&T person came out and some kids had gone around the neighborhood and tied the lines together because they thought it was fun, I guess. I didn't ask them why they did it, but that's why my internet was slow. So he was able to fix the lines, and my internet was gloriously fast again. So don't hesitate to reach out to 4Info for connectivity issues and to your internet provider for internet issues. Don't just struggle, ask for help. Okay, so let's get right into our OneDrive updates and tips. We did this because some things changed, and I actually got lost one day trying to look for something. So I thought this will be a good time to do some updates. So just a reminder, if you're going to be accessing OneDrive, there are a couple of different ways to do it. If you're on campus or you're using a network like VPN, the VX Remote, or the Velo, all you have to do is go to Inside, look for the waffle icon, and choose OneDrive. You could also bookmark that on your browser as well. If you're off campus or you're off network, you can still access OneDrive. You can go to the mdanderson.org.sharepoint.com, log in with your MD Anderson credentials, and you'll use that Duo app to authenticate. So you can still access on a personal laptop, even off campus, your OneDrive files. So if you need to continue working on a manuscript or an Excel file, whatever that is, you can continue to do that. So access is everywhere. If you're accessing OneDrive from your desktop, if you're using an MD Anderson computer, you're just going to open your Windows Explorer. Screenshot is here, and you're going to choose OneDrive-Inside MD Anderson. So many of us have more than one OneDrive here, which could be confusing. Just remember you're looking for Inside MD Anderson. This is your OneDrive folder. So you can open that folder and work from your desktop if you aren't comfortable or just not feeling the online. It's totally fine. I like to work from here many times, but just remember you're looking for inside MD Anderson. If you need really quick access, you can right click on this and you can pin it to your start menu on your computer. You can also pin it to quick access up here, so it'll be right at the top of your Windows File Explorer. You can also send it to your desktop. So if you're one of the people who puts everything on your desktop, you can send it to the desktop so that you can quickly open it from the desktop and start working. Whatever is comfortable for you, that's what you should do. And you may want to give yourself multiple points of access. All right. Someone asked about the tip of the week. I emailed it out. So if you didn't get it, I'll add it to the Teams as well, and I'll add you to the email if that's okay with you. Okay, so now we know how to access on Inside. We know how to access when we're using an MD Anderson computer, when we're at work, when we're not at work. Hopefully you're not working when you're not at work, but also how to access from your desktop here. Let's talk about the layout. This is kind of what's changed a little bit that threw me for a loop for a second, just like Outlook has changed slightly for most of us. And I'm still getting tripped up on occasion with the layout change. But online, one of the big changes here is that there's an add new button in the upper left-hand corner. Now you're going to see this and say, that's so obvious. And hopefully many of you are already using it. But typically, previously, the add button was over the top of the file names. I was lost for a little while looking for the add button, trying to add a new document or a new folder, and then realized, oh, it's on the left-hand side right there, big and blue. So if you want to add something new, like a new file, a new folder, the blue button's in the upper left-hand corner. They also added these sections called Browse Files by People or by Meetings. So the people section is supposed to connect you to recent files that you have that have been shared with you or you've shared with people. I honestly, it's not super reliable to me yet, but maybe that'll improve over time, especially with the AI components that are going to be added. But you can click here. You'll see the people you work with most frequently, their cute little photo, and then some of the files you worked on recently with them. So that's another way to find files. Meetings is going to show you your Teams meetings and the files that were shared and used during those meetings. So that's very handy if you need to go back and find the files again. There's also the quick access section that shows you files from each of your SharePoint or Teams sites. So you can quickly get back to those files if you need to add something. Again, if I wanted to add something to Tooltime Tuesday, I could click on the link here and get to those files and update those files from there. I could also just go into the team and edit the way that I normally do, but just letting you know that this is another access point. Has anyone else noticed anything about the layout that was different or surprising or good? Or I'll let you ponder it. The other thing that was added that I thought was kind of neat is that you can change folder colors in the online version of OneNote, OneDrive. There's so many ones and notes. So all you have to do is click on the ... and you can change the folder color. So my education folder is one that I use pretty much every day. So I changed it to a bright green so I could see it very quickly and easily. I like how it makes it stand out. You can also, this was been here before, but just as a reminder, because I had forgotten as well, you can favorite folders. What's nice about favoriting is this folder list gets super long at some point and it can feel a bit overwhelming. Favorite the ones that you're using most frequently and they go into your favorites section. You could bookmark this on your browser so that you don't land on the homepage and see everything. You just see those favorites folders that you use all the time. So one thing to note though, is if you change your folder colors online, they don't carry over to the desktop. Maybe that's something they'll add in the future, but if I go back to my desktop OneDrive, I can't see this pretty green icon. I can still see the folder in the files, I just can't see the color. So let's see. Okay, I like the new color feature as well. I hope one day it will transfer over to the desktop as well. Let's see. Okay, so someone asked me direct messages, what's the difference between OneDrive and OneDrive MDA? So do you mean on the desktop one? So the OneDrive we're looking for on the desktop is OneDrive inside MD Anderson. I don't know why this one is here. Does anyone else have an idea why this one's here?
So
All
I
I
was
Go
looking
ahead.
at this, Larissa, and OneDrive, the one without the inside MD Anderson, has to do with something to do with when you actually create your profile in Windows itself. And the OneDrive that's inside MD Anderson is the institutional OneDrive. So as
Okay.
long as it says MD Anderson, doesn't really matter. And someone actually said OneDrive is pre-downloaded with Windows computers, right? And so as long as it says Anderson, whether it says inside or whether it says anderson.org, the one that doesn't have it is the one you don't want to worry about. It's the one with Anderson, MD Anderson, that you want to be working with.
Yeah, and again, every time we do this, people are on different versions or at different points. But again, just look for the MD Anderson one and stick to that one. And OneDrive should be on our computers. They should add it to our computers when we get them. But yeah, there's a lot of nuance to that we don't know all the details. All we know is use the MD Anderson one, and you'll be on track. So someone else asked about organization, if we had any thoughts on how to organize OneDrive folders, colors, favorites, anything else. The colors to me just help them pop. I think the favorites is a key here. If you use the favorites for the ones that you use most frequently, you bookmark that link and use that link, because then you'll just have, maybe the 4 or 5 folders that you use most frequently. A lot of these I'm not using on a daily basis. So I only need them if I'm working on a specific project that comes up maybe once a month or once every couple of months. So I don't need to go back to them all the time. You'll notice that one of the things that we've talked about before is I do try to create an archive folder, and this works for my desktop files as well. The archive folder, you just put like an X or a Z in front of it. I think Z is the appropriate way, but I put an X. I put files in there that I don't think I'm using anymore so that it will go to the bottom of the list. In this case, it's not sorted. I need to resort it for it to go to the bottom of the list. Works better on the desktop than OneDrive. Okay, let's see.
Larissa, with the
Okay.
colors, there's only a set number of colors, right?
Yes, there's only a set number of colors.
Okay.
So when you look at it here, here's my favorites folder. Also, the colors don't carry over to your favorites, and I don't know why that is.
Oh, I'm
But
still seeing your presentation, so
oh, because I didn't share my
that's okay.
screen correctly. Hold on. I'm going to reshare. Nope. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
Oh, yeah.
just to let
So
you
it only
know,
has like 16 or 24 colors, whatever it
yeah,
is.
the colors don't transfer over to your favorites, but if you only have a couple of folders in your favorites, that's probably okay, but it's still a little annoying. Maybe hopefully they'll update that eventually. But if I want to do folder colors, this is it. Okay. And if anyone else has tips for organization, please feel free to share. I think that that's something we probably still need to continue to talk about because it's a challenge for sure.
We have a really good comment in the chat. My OneDrive now looks different. Currently, my OneDrive folders and files are all over the place. I'm now unable to locate previous folders that were once all under one folder. Any advice on how I can now find these folders? The short answer is I think that's going to take more than a couple of minutes to look at. Like we actually have to look at it to see what's happened,
Yeah,
but it may actually require a
just
phone
reading
call
it.
to For Info as well. We can look at it, definitely.
I do know that some people I've worked with some people who have had some trouble with stuff that came over in the box migration, and some of it requires you just to reorganize, which is super painful. But we will have to look at it and see what's going on. Let's talk about sharing Anna put a link in the chat, which is very helpful. Thank you. Let's talk about sharing. So sharing is still a question that comes up a bit, especially with external collaborators. So we investigated this again, so we've made sure we'd be clear about it. Online, if you want to share, you're just going to hover over the folder. You're going to click on the little share icon, which hopefully you're familiar with by now. You're going to add in email addresses. You're going to choose whether you allow them to edit the documents in the folder or just view them. And then you're going to click send. Now, this works perfectly for internal users. So anyone at MD Anderson, we can put their email address in here, choose can edit, can view, or click send. On the desktop, it's the same exact thing. You're going to right click on the folder, choose share, choose edit, view, and send. The difference is for external collaborators. So external collaborators, the best thing to do is to copy the link and send it to them. So what you'll do is you'll go to the share icon, you'll add their email addresses, you'll choose whether they can edit or view, and you'll copy the link and you'll manually email that to them. We tested this. Again, it works better. It does not work if you send it, but if you send the copy link, then that works for them. Could I use a group email? I don't know.
I've not tried that.
I've never tried a group email. Has anyone tried sharing with a group email?
I'm not 100% sure that group. Well, someone says yes, it works.
Okay.
Okay.
I have not tried the group area. Thank you so much. Okay, a couple people now said the group email works. Awesome. So yes, if you copy the link, and you choose that they can edit it, they can still edit it. They're just going to have to authenticate to access it, and to authenticate, it's the same thing we're doing with Duo. They're going to have to get a code to their phone, or an email that they'll have to use the code for. Let's see. Okay. All right. Did I miss anything, Leslie, in the chat yet?
You have not.
Okay, cool. So to manage access, this is another thing. So you may want to change, you want to add, we know how to add somebody, but if we want to remove somebody or change their access from can edit to can view, this is kind of hidden, and it's a little clunky, but we went through it for you so we could talk about it. If you want to change access, you can hover over any folder, click on the ... and you're going to go to manage access. So these are the people you've already put in here. When you manage access on the desktop, same thing, you're going to right click and you're going to choose manage access. Now, to actually remove access for someone, once you've clicked that manage access option, you may have to remove them from more than one place. And this depends on how you shared with them. If you shared with them by a link or by sending them an email. And you don't have to remember that. You just want to check both places to make sure that you've removed them if indeed you want to remove them. So again, you'll just go to the file or folder that you want to change the access on. You'll click on the ... click on manage access. There's a couple tabs that you'll see. There's people, groups, and links. If you go to the links tab, there's a drop-down menu. It's kind of tiny, but under people, you specify can edit. When you drop that down, it gives me the list of who is in here, and I can just X out whoever I want to remove from the file from there. So it's kind of hidden. I only say that because you have to go to more than one place, and I'll show you the second place. But links is one of them. You have to click on the little drop down here where all the little people faces are, and then X that person out. That sounds terrible, Xing them out, but just remove them by clicking the X. You also want to click on the people link. So same thing, we're going to go to manage access. Under people, you could click on the person that you want to remove. So I had added myself as an external user here, so I want to delete myself. I'm going to click on the direct access here. Under can edit, I'm going to remove the direct access. So basically, click under people and remove them, click under links and remove them. If you can't see how to remove them, look for a tiny drop-down menu. When we were doing this initially, because I don't remove people often, these menus were kind of small and hard to see. but you're just looking for a little caret that you can drop down and actually see the list and then remove the access. So from people and from links. Hopefully that's not too confusing. We'll definitely send the directions and the screenshots, and you can always ask again later. We also wanted to mention that there's some new features arriving soon for OneDrive that we should be on the lookout for. One of them is that OneDrive is going to be added to the left-hand navigation in our Outlook. So remember how many people's Outlook has changed, and now our calendar's on the left, our mail is on the left, and we can add additional apps here on the left. OneDrive is going to be added here for quick access from your Outlook. It's not there yet, but it said sometime in December they're going to start rolling this out. We won't all get it at the same time, of course. So one day you might just see your OneDrive option there. But that may be handy for people if you work in your Outlook desktop a lot. It's also going to be in Teams for you to be able to open up in Teams very easily and review your files in Teams. The other thing that's coming is Microsoft Copilot. So if you haven't heard of Copilot, this is their AI tool that they're implementing across all of their products. And it's going to be, I'm guessing it's going to be a tool that continues to grow and change. But what the initial things that they're adding to OneDrive is you're going to be able to ask open-ended questions related to files in your OneDrive and get a summary of content. So hopefully that means the search will be better for you in OneDrive once it rolls out. They're also going to provide a daily digest of new files shared with you. So we haven't seen this in action. Actually, I think I watched a short video on it, but I think there's going to just be a daily digest at the top so you can see what's been shared with you recently. We'll have to see how that changes over time. So someone else asked, unless I share, no one can see my documents, correct? Okay. Sorry, it bumped when I did that. So that's correct. So unless you share the files, no one can see your files. If you put them on a SharePoint site and you've shared the SharePoint site with a group, then people can see them from there. If you put them on a team and you've made the team accessible to a group, they can see them on theirs. But if it's in your OneDrive, they're not accessible unless you share them. So you can go in and manage access anytime and see who has access to them. Okay. We wanted to give you a couple of bonus tips that aren't particularly new, but just additional tips. In your email, you can upload files from Outlook to OneDrive really quickly. It's a slightly different from the desktop to the online version of Outlook, but we wanted to mention this. So if you have an attachment to an email, someone's just emailed you, sent you some attachments, and you want to save them, you could click on the down arrow next to the email attachment, and on the desktop, it's going to give you an option to upload. The file is going to upload to your attachments folder in OneDrive so that you can continue working on it from there. If you're using Outlook online, you can click on the down arrow and next to the attachment, and they're going to allow you to go ahead and start editing in your browser. So in this case, it's an Excel document. I could go ahead and start editing the Excel in my browser, or I could save it to OneDrive from there as well. So it's just an additional option there when you get those attachments. Sometimes I have to go back and search for my attachments. There's a way for you to just download them quickly to OneDrive if you'd like. Another thing about quick access on your desktop. So this is just an organization tip. If you use the Windows Explorer a lot to search for files, you probably want to make use of this quick access section up here. So we'd mentioned this earlier that you can right click on your OneDrive and you can add it to the quick access here. So it's at the top. You could also do that with a specific file folder if you want. The thing that I noticed with this is the default for quick access is anything you used recently will show up in the quick access section. This was driving me nuts because the files were changing constantly. So I would look at it and the files would be slightly different. You can turn the default off for quick access, so it only shows what you've chosen for it to show, not just recently used files. So if you right click on the quick access section, they're going to give you some options, which pops up here. And under privacy, you can turn off the show recently used files in quick access and show frequently used folders in quick access. Now, maybe this is handy to you, like you just opened an agenda for a meeting and it's at the top of the quick access and you like that. For me, the files changing it was too much to see them change. I want to know what's here and what I'm accessing quickly. So I went to that options section and just turned that off. So just think about it. You may be happy with that, but the main tip is to use your quick access so you're not having to hunt and search for things that you use frequently. Okay, that was our whole Tool Time Tuesday session. Does anyone have any other questions, suggestions, thoughts? Did we go back to, let's see. Anna put a link in there. Did we answer that question sort of, Leslie, or do we need to go back and review it later?
We may need to look at the link and see how that goes.
Okay, so finding lost or missing files in OneDrive. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. I do know that you have a recycle bin in OneDrive that you can recover some things from. So don't forget that you have that recycle bin available. So if you did get rid of something, you could go back and get it again.
And Anna says that link has some basic troubleshooting before you call for info, which is good.
Okay, so we'll be sure to share the link. So for finding lost or missing files. I will say I've worked with a couple of people who are having trouble with their files. And some of it is we need to all do some spring cleaning, winter cleaning. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying that when Box migrated, a lot of stuff came over and people are sort of buried in it. So it would help to schedule some time for yourself to go through and see if there are things that you could archive that you're not using anymore, and to organize a little bit for yourself as well.
Anna says at the bottom of the recycle bin is a secondary recycle bin, which yes. So you have a recycle bin and then
Whoa.
there's a thing that's like, oh, well, there's some really old stuff. Do you want to possibly recover that?
Okay. Wow, mine is very full. Sorry. I was cleaning up the other day, so.
Okay, we have a question. If you change the name of a folder, spring cleaning, will it impact sharing the recipient end view access? Okay, so I've tried this before, so I'm not 100% sure, but it should carry over. If you've changed the folder, it's when you've changed the file name that you might have problems. But I'm not 100% sure on the file name.
Oh, so like, okay.
So
But
like if
I
you have a
changed,
folder and you had education and you were like educational documents instead, would suddenly people have access, have problems accessing it? They
yeah,
shouldn't. Like if you shared that folder, they shouldn't have access problems
can
because
you
Microsoft
see,
is generally smart enough to understand that.
if you still have access to this one if I change the folder?
Yeah, just a second. Let me get online.
And someone else said, I utilize OneDrive and Outlook to attach documents to emails to share. It's nice when you want to send a link with more info than a small snippet. Yes. So you'll notice a lot of times when you email now, it'll ask you if you want to send just a link or the whole file. So you can send the link as well. But yes, it is nice to attach documents to share.
T3 test. That's what it is.
It worked.
Yeah.
So I think it should stay the same. The other thing I've been asked as well, and we've tested, is if I share the top level folder, are they going to get everything underneath? And yes, that was my experience. If I share this top level folder, I have a ton of folders underneath. I'm giving them access to everything. Okay. Yeah, I always worry it's going to mess things up too.
Oh, follow-up question. If you send a link to someone who has not accessed it yet, do they automatically get access? That's a good question. I still think the answer is yes, because Microsoft is pretty smart about this.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
I think that's worth following up on.
Okay.
We also
Well,
have another question, which is there a way to unsync a OneDrive folder from your computer? I have several folders that were synced to my computer when I was working on them, but I don't need them to be synced anymore.
oh, from the little icon at the bottom.
That's a good question. Yes, I think so. From the OneDrive folder, which I don't think we mentioned. Did we mention in the today's session?
We were gonna mention it and then I didn't
And
mention
then
it. So
we didn't.
let me reshare. This is gonna be tricky, sorry. Okay. So can you see my
Yes.
windows? Okay. So there is a blue icon at the bottom that is your OneDrive in your system tray. Again, I don't know where this is for the Macs. I'm so sorry, Mac users. I don't have one. But this is a place where you can sync from. Um, I don't know how you stop the sync from it though. This is recently used things that so I'm not sure.
So if you go into settings for that, I know there's a way for
Sync.
sync and backup. That's where you can.
Because I think when you sync your desktop, you're syncing the whole desktop.
You are.
Let's see.
Sorry if you can hear the cat. What's under
So
advanced settings? We're kind of doing troubleshooting on the fly on the, there you
sorry.
go. That's okay. Yeah, once upon a time, I think you could do this. I don't know that you can anymore. You could actually
So
pick some of the folders.
yeah, you could in the beginning, but I think now you're syncing your whole desktop.
Yeah.
I think, but we can look into that.
So there's a follow-up question for alerts and when you get updates. So is there a way to get alerts when a shared folder or file has been updated? And the answer is you'd need Power Automate to get the
Yes.
updates.
So I believe that we've done this before, but it's been a while. I think you can click on the go to automate and power automate and create a flow for it. And they have some automatic ones here. Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The alternative is you can start from Power Automate and you can create a flow and it would apply to potentially anything in OneDrive. That can also be problematic though, because that's a lot of stuff if you have lots of files and folders.
Yeah, so I think that there should be a flow in here. You can create a flow for yourself, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it in a while because I worry that I would get too many updates. Um,
Yeah. Jen says she had no idea there were all these PowerMate options. Yep. And
yes,
actually, I think at the very bottom, there's the option to create your own flow if you don't see.
see more templates.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yep.
the other thing is when Leslie
And we
says create your own flow, she's very good at creating a flow. I'm just being honest. You're
very
good
good
at
at
creating a
poking at
flow.
it until it works.
I am not as good at creating flow. And I'm going to guess not all of us are going to have the patience or maybe I don't know. She's really good at creating a flow. But I think the templates here hopefully will help, but you can also search the templates. And I've noticed that with the Copilot, they're starting to add in things where you can say, hey, Copilot, can you create a flow for X, Y, and Z? And hopefully all those things will make this easier for us. I'm
Yep.
sure there's a flow in here.
Yeah.
Here's complete a custom action for the selected file, but I'm just not sure which one it is yet. So you might have to search. Here's one for a new file is added.
And we
Oh,
did have
here,
that
send an
presentation.
email and notify for files modified.
Oh, and Anna just sent us a link for creating alert to be notified when a
Perfect.
file folder in SharePoint, but we want one for OneDrive.
But there's one in OneDrive for send an email and notify for files modified in OneDrive, but you're going to have to test it and see how it works. But Power Automate is the tool for this for sure.
Yeah. And we
Kind
did
of
have that
scared to do
presentation, so
it.
we can create that link. We can send that link about Power Automate because we did have that session when you were out.
Oh, right, about Power Automate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is kind of what a flow looks like, and this one's automatic. Um, I don't know what
Yep.
this is going to do exactly.
So this is basically send an email and notify for files modified. So if a file is modified in OneDrive, then what it'll do is it'll send you some sort of notification. And so to get started, you have to actually like tell Power Automate who you are. You have to basically credential, authenticate. So when you click next, you don't have to keep this. But what you do is the flow comes in and it says, these are the pieces to it. And you don't have to change anything because this is an automatic thing that's
Okay.
been set up. But what you do have to do is, I think
Put my email
you
address in
have to
here.
put your email address, who you want to notify. And
But is
then,
this going to do it for everything in
yeah,
OneDrive?
it would, but you don't have to continue to do, like, you don't have to continue through with this and save this and make it a real flow for yourself. Or you could actually pick if you only want to be notified for one particular folder, same thing.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
as you can see, it's a
it
little clunky.
is. And I will say the first thing that's very confusing for me is if you haven't used Power Automate in a while, you have to authenticate with it, um, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't, you just have to remember to do it. So,
Yeah, so someone suggested it might be a good test for ChatGPT to create an MS Power Automate, ask the question of
mhm.
ChatGPT. And I think that's the purpose of the Copilot that's being added to Microsoft is that we can ask Microsoft, how do I create a flow for this?
Yeah, actually,
Um,
if you click home right there on the left-hand side, because you're in Power Automate, Copilot, it's okay, you can skip
yeah,
it.
here it is.
Copilot's right up top, and you can ask that question. You can say something about, uh-huh, exactly.
Okay, check is modified. Check the modification date every 30 minutes. Check if a file in OneDrive has been
Hmm.
modified and send an email every
But
30
then there's that
minutes.
send an email when a file is modified, which is the flow you were already looking at.
Okay. So I think that seems like that's going to help me because I'm not going to be great at starting from scratch.
Hmm. Yep.
But how do you pick a specific file that you want?
I think once you're actually in, when you're in the part where it talks about that flow, you would get like the opportunity to choose the file. Or you can start from OneDrive and um, you can actually that would be the file that it would start with.
Okay.
Yep.
So you
So
can see
Copilot's trying to
Copilot's,
help you walk through the process.
yeah.
Yep. And I really would like for I'd like to find somebody who'd be willing to sort of sit down and walk through the actual like process of this at not at a like super detailed level, but like understanding what Copilot, what not Copilot, but what Power Automate is doing.
So here it is. It gave me the option to to choose the file.
The folder and then
So
mhm.
um
So
okay,
this
let
is
me
why
do this one.
Copilot's good because Copilot's going to walk you through this entire process.
How often do I check? No, every minute,
Once a
every day.
month, every
This
day.
once a week.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I
then
mean,
how
it
do
might be
I
a really important document, and so you want to check it more than once a day
write?
because it's not going to notify you unless it's actually changed.
I'm gonna send it to me. Okay.
What do you want the subject to be?
Okay. Test. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, it
And then
didn't get my email.
you do have the option for advanced parameters, which I'm not sure what all they are at the bottom, but
Oh, Lordy.
it's okay. You
Let's
don't
go
have to
with
go through
this.
them.
See,
Here,
now
it's
you can
something
see
nice and
how
simple.
Leslie and I work where she tells me it's not that hard. And I'm
It's
like,
not, it's not. You just have to stop and look at the screen and take a moment because now you're going to click next over there on the Copilot because you've got 3 steps that it wants you to do.
okay. Next is create a flow.
Yep.
So just click save in theory.
I will totally hold your hand through the process.
Okay.
And like I
So
said, I'm really good at poking at something until I can make it work.
So to get
That's
to
what I'm good
Power
at.
Automate, we should be able to go here and we should be able to go to Power Automate and
Hmm.
we should be able to search from here what we
Hmm.
want to do and
Exactly.
set up the Power Automate. This is what the team is for too. So if you get stuck and you feel lost, let's try to share on the team because
Hmm.
that's someone else has probably done this before.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for, is to help each other. So
And it's
okay.
the way to think about Power Automate is exactly what Copilot says. There's a trigger, there's an action, which equals a flow. And if you had any experience with if this, then that, this is exactly what that is. So you just have to, you know,
So this is the best AI use I've seen so far because when we looked at this a couple years ago, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do 14 steps to figure this out.
hmm.
I mean, of course I can, but it's going to break my brain. Um, and so being able to ask the question and have it set up is beautiful.
Yep.
It's very nice.
Yeah.